Guess who's in the house? You know what? Nothing gives me more pleasure than to introduce and always welcome our first Jamaican female representative in the Georgia House of Assembly in her second term. Welcome, Miss Donna Mcleod. How are you, Miss Donna?
Big up, big up. I'm doing well. And
Hey, listen to the
hello,
energy.
everybody that's listening. It's nice
Oh,
to be here.
you're way too happy to be in politics, Donna.
You know what? You know, yada, right? We take a hard life easy.
I, oh, you got the lyrics, I'm telling you. You hear her, ladies and gentlemen? I love it. I love your attitude, though. Thank you for bringing that attitude because, boy,
There's
it
some
is
serious
not.
things going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
How are you?
It's been exhausting in a lot of ways. This year, well, 2020, 2020 seems to have its own characteristics already, but 2020 was quite when they say 2020 vision, quite revealing. A lot of
Yes.
band-aids were removed, a lot of clarity. I, as a legislator, most people, think that we just do 40 days, but we're actually there 365 days, 7 days a week. We have constituent issues, and we've had to deal with the pandemic. Just trying to teach people to believe facts over fiction. Wear your mask, social distance, wash your hands. We repeat that and repeat that. We actually, me and my colleagues, some of my colleagues, 10 of us, we do a weekly show back from April to I think it was like August. We did a weekly. Then we went to Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, but just talking about COVID, what the science is, what the numbers are, and then we were dealing with the after effect of COVID, where people got unemployed, where the Department of Labor wasn't processing, claims. So you
Yeah.
got people losing their homes, it's been a real mess. And then of course you have the guy in the White House that is just a complete moron. And
Man.
and
Mm.
so it's been a trying year. And you have to try to bring clarity to people as well. You've got to try to create that ability for people to feel, that they can come to somebody that is still strong, for them, so that they can deal with some of the problems they're dealing with.
Yes, yes. That's so true. That's so true. We need to have that affirmation, that confidence, that there's someone we can at least reach out to.
Hmm.
I first want to personally congratulate you, though, Donna, and winning your second term in office in the House of Assembly. And I gotta tell you too that you are inspiring people. Believe me, I have heard some chatter among folks that are inspired by what you are doing and have done and will continue to do. And you're gonna have some folks that will be pledging their motivation to you for their step
Wow.
in the direction they're planning to go in the near future. So hats off to you for what you're doing. In terms, um, I sit back and I look at the current climate. And right now, the impeachment debate is going on. Last week, this time, we were all just out of breath. We were just wondering, where are we? What's happening? Is this real what we're seeing? Especially where it was happening. Now we're hearing there are threats to every state.
Yes,
And
every 50 or
you
50
work,
states.
that's where you do your work. So
Yes.
you've become from probably one of the perceived most safest person at work to somebody who's got to go to work every day now and wonder if there'll be an invasion breaking down the doors.
Absolutely. So you were talking about in less than a week. So um, Georgia became the conscience of the United States with the election of the two Senate races, U.S. Senate races, and we became the political universe where everybody was focused on Georgia, because literally Georgia was going to determine the balance of power in the U.S. Congress. And of course, Georgia delivered. But just what, a day afterwards, we witnessed, first, I think the day before the election was where Trump basically was begging the Secretary of State of Georgia to
Yes.
find him 11,760
780
81
votes.
votes. And
Mm.
then Then we had the election. We delivered. Then we had insurrection. In less than what, 72, 74, 74 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want people to kind of grasp just what the United States has been going through the last 4 years. And then in the last, like, it was about 80 hours, it was like a mental, just like everything just collapsed
Yeah.
and actually it was and some, people were acting surprised. I'd be honest, I was not
Yes.
surprised,
Yes.
because this
Yes.
guy was telling us from before, if somebody tells you who they are, believe them. Believe them. That is the problem. If you keep and the white supremacy, the entitlement mentality of these men who think, and women who think that anybody of color should not have the same rights as they do. And so this all boils down to this white supremacy who belief, which is a disease. Greed, white supremacy, racism, all the isms are disease. And the only cure is that we actually have to stand together. Those of us that know better just got to do better, because this is and we're not done yet, because he still has a few days. Thank God Twitter at least shut him down. They should have shut him
Yeah.
down
Oh
a
my
long
gosh.
time ago.
Yeah.
So and yeah, I'm at the Capitol, and all 50 states are targeted now. They're encouraging their members of the white supremacists, and they don't even call themselves Klan anymore, because the Klan used to have to wear sheets over their head. They're out loud
Yeah.
and
They're not
proud.
hiding in
They're
plain
not
sight.
hiding.
In
They're
plain
loud.
sight.
They're out loud and in clear view. I got to tell you, some of my colleagues are so concerned that a lot of them are carrying guns.
My
But,
goodness. What a day.
because again, we're trying to do our job to do the work on behalf of the people that we serve. And you would think that, it would be the least controversial job. Now it's become a real, where, you're in jeopardy. And what I try to tell people is that I can't worry about being afraid. For those who don't know, I was born in Jamaica. I was actually born in Jamaican Jubilee Hospital. And for the
All
first
right.
9 years, yeah, for at least, I was born in the late 60s. I was a child in the 70s. And anybody who was in Jamaica in the 70s in the Kingston area know the political ramification that in that point in time, where doors were being kicked down, bad man kicked down doors, kill up people, election shut up. So
Yes.
I was a little girl. I remember all of that. And so for me to live in fear would be like going backwards. It is not that you're not you're not fearful of what might come, but you can't live in that fear, because if you do, you can't move. You'll be feeling paralyzed, and I cannot live being paralyzed. I'm just not that person.
That's right. You've made some good arguments there, Donna, about the current state of affairs. It is crazy what's happening. It's very sad, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
But like you said, it was the signs were there. It was in writing was on the wall, and the last week has just been like a climax of everything.
Yes.
Fueled by desperation on the fact that, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to go before I could fulfill my dying wishes here in this White House. So, one thing though, in all this, the silver lining to me, Donna, as crazy as it is that more people still voted for a change and something better than what's existing right now. More people in America found it in their hearts to go out and vote for something better than what's happening right now. And that leads me to talk about the Ossoff and the Warnock, elections. My goodness, talk about a cliffhanger. It turned out in the end to be not even that close, to be honest. But boy, it's
let me tell the audience, this was not an overnight sensation. To get Georgia to this point, it takes about 12 years or more of grassroots people like myself. I've been on the ground since 2008, and I will give Stacey Abrams discredit. In 2018, she did something And actually, when I went to speak to her, when she said when she was going to run, and I went to speak to her, and I told her, what are you going to be doing different from the other candidates? Because I said, we don't have a Senator Nunn, and we don't have a governor named Jason Carter. And I said, what are you going to be doing different? She said, I'm not going to sit there and wait to change the mind of these used to be Democrats. So these were Democrats when the Democratic Party was actually behaving like the Republican Party. And right. And she said, I'm not going to wait for that. What I'm going to do, we're going to spend our time registering people to vote. And then guess what we're going to do? We're going to make sure that we bring the voting to people. Now, the absentee ballot process has been a process that's been in place since 2005. And what Stacey Abrams did was she said, you know what? I'm going to pay for 1.5 million absentee ballot application to be sent out to people so they can register, they can basically request their ballot to come to their home. That changed the game.
Wow.
When people realized that, hey, I don't have to vote by going to the box. I can actually have the ballot sent to my house. Now, and there's a difference between the absentee ballot process and voting by mail. Voting by mail means that as soon as you register to vote and your address is listed, you will be mailed out a ballot. The ballot, the process in the state of Georgia is you have to fill out an application first. So it goes to the Secretary of State or your county board of registrars, and they check your registration, and then they mail you out the ballot. So there's a check and balance process already. So that is what Stacey actually took advantage of. And by doing so, a lot of African Americans said, hey, I like this. But then guess what? Now you got the Republicans saying, oh no, this is getting too many people engaged. So we might have to rethink this. So we're going to be in a fight this session about voting the absentee ballot process. And so, this is going to be where, and to even put this forward, to even say that this was a problem in a pandemic, when people are dying, you want to make voting as easy as possible. This country is a republic that requires people to participate in order for it to work. That's why it's a representative democracy. And so for you to actually try to diminish that, you are anti-American.
Yeah, absolutely. 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 Well said. Well said. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're speaking with our state representative, Miss Donna Mcleod, the first Jamaican female ever elected to such a position. We're proud to know her. We're proud to be living this with her. Donna, speak to your role. It's 15 minutes before the hour, 9 p.m. before we get Janice O'Shea right in here. I tell you what I'm going to do, Donna. Let me see if anyone has any questions or anything they want to run by you. Game changer, doing the same thing, expecting a different result is insanity. They're piggybacking on your comments, Donna. Let's see, anything else? I want to shout out Miss Sharon Barnwell. Hi. Greetings to Caribbean International Shipping. Janice O'Shea, welcome. All right, presenter, I see you. Okay, all right. All right, good night to Miss Donna Mcleod from Janice O'Shea. Okay, all right. Good night, Wayne All and the listeners. That's Violet White, DJ Reds. All right. Okay, well, not much politicking going on. What happened? You guys don't have anything for the representative? Come on now. But let me ask you, though, about role and your duties now. The House has been in session since the 11th.
Yes.
And I'm already seeing headlines floating around that there are already bills that are going to try to further suppress voter participation. Yeah. What is it like now for you in terms of your duties with session being open?
So this is a very important session. Not only are you looking at bills coming forward, we're going to try to counteract their suppressive actions. We want to illuminate that to let people know these are suppressive actions. The Secretary of State in this state said nothing was wrong. The elections went very well. There was no fraud found by the Secretary of State, the governor, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation even did an investigation, nothing found, but yet they want to put legislation to again suppress or make voting harder. So it's our job in a way to make sure that we are out there in front. So this is a good platform so people understand that we have to be woke. And so, you need to be ready if we say call up your representative or call up somebody that's on those committees, call them up and say, this is not right. We're not accepting that kind of legislation that actually hurts a voter. So part of my job, of course, the biggest part of our job is the budget, right? To pass a budget for the state of Georgia.
Okay.
That's our main job. We had a $28 billion budget for the state of Georgia. So that's our main job. But we also perform legislation. And the reason why legislation is so important is because it was legislation in the state of Georgia that really held human beings, Black people, in bondage from the 1600s up until
Jim
the
Crow,
1860s,
etc.
all of that, because it was legislation. It was laws that were passed in the South that said this was okay to do. That's why we have to be very mindful about what laws are being made at the state level. People focus a lot on the federal level, but I beg you to pay attention to the state, because if a state makes a law and there's no federal law at the federal level to combat that state law or strike it down, that law stands. And so that's why it's so important to have people at the table that are going to be fighting to make sure that we don't have bad laws being enacted. But we also want to make sure that people understand that if they see something coming, that they need to activate and call, pick up the phone, write, and say, I don't like something. So very important for people to understand the process. So we make laws, we also think, but there's also the fact of this year, after 2020, which was a census year, the district lines will be redrawn.
Oh.
And so, yes. So that's another big thing that will be happening this year as well, is that they're going to be drawing new lines. And of course, the Republicans have the majority. So we're concerned, of how they want to draw lines. So we want to definitely make sure that we get fair lines drawn to represent the people. So the people are choosing their representative, and not the representative choosing the people they represent.
Telling
so
us where they're to go. Give us an idea of the balance of power in the House of Representatives right now in terms of independents, Republicans, Democrats.
So in the Georgia House of Representatives, there's 180 members. Right now, we have 77 members that are Democrat, and the rest is Republicans. So what, 103?
Do the math.
103. 103.
Wow.
So we did gain 2 seats.
Yes.
We gained 2 seats, but we really want to flip to become the majority. And we actually lost across the entire state of Georgia. We lost by about 20,000 votes in flipping several seats. So it wasn't a whole lot of votes, but we have to be able to get people to come out and vote in those off-year elections, in those House races. And that they need to remember that even if you vote at the top of the ballot, so say Stacey's on the ballot in 2022, you need to make sure you're going down the ballot to get all the candidates on the ballot, not just stop at the top or a couple people. We need you to go down the ballot so that we can get several houses flipped in the future.
Great information. Ladies and gentlemen, State Representative Ms. Donna Mcleod here on the Wayne Hall Show. This will be heard also on Fresh FM London. It's being heard right now on islandworldwide.com, reggaevibesradio.com, hypefmradio.net, Clark TV Network. We are live. You can watch us on the Clark TV Network right now. You can also watch on the WayneHallShow.com. You can see videos as well as hear audio of the show. Just go to the WayneHallShow.com. E-Power 102.1 FM. Did I leave out anybody? I think I got everybody. Okay. So the world is checking you out right now, Miss Donna. So it would be churlish to end this conversation tonight and not touch on the pandemic we're living amongst right now.
Yes.
Word just got out that Gwinnett County, one of the biggest school districts in the country, is gonna transition back to all digital starting next week. Donna, what's, from your vantage point, how are we as a state dealing with this pandemic right now, and what can you say about vaccinations?
Okay, so as a state, horribly. we are not doing very well. We've been trending, we've been watching this trend from April. It's never gone down. And in fact, I think we had over 1,000 new infections in one day in Gwinnett County alone. In the state of Georgia, we had nearly over 4,000, almost 5,000 in the state of Georgia. And then, of course, in the United States, it's just been horrendous. So, and all because of a philosophy that science and data doesn't matter. And that's been the killer, because if we had worked together to really use the mask, the distancing, and the washing of our hands early, and actually really take a shutdown very seriously, we'd be in a different place today. The virus is, I'm a science major, I'm a chemical engineer, and a virus looks for a host. And we are great hosts for a virus, right? We're warm-blooded. We're perfect, right?
Right.
And so if we keep transmitting to others, then the virus lives more and more. And we've given this virus a long life. He's been around. This COVID-19 has been around a long time.
Joke, ladies and gentlemen.
As a matter of, as far as the vaccine, I know people are skeptical, and I think it's because the vaccine has been so politicized, right? There are people that are willing to take the vaccine, and I will tell folks, if you are really a person at high risk, I really do recommend that you take the vaccine. The woman behind the I think it's the Pfizer vaccine is a Black woman, and so I'm planning to take the vaccine because I think it's important for us to help as much as we can. I've been practicing the mask wearing, the social distance, and the hand washing since the get-go. From I realized that this was a serious a virus. I've been very cognitive of my space and surroundings. But it would be good for us to get to a place where we can actually take the mask off. And even when we do get vaccinated, we're going to have to keep the mask on. The problem is now the transporting and the logistics of the vaccine getting from distribution, from manufacturing to distribution, and then to the actual recipient has been slowed down again through incompetence. And so, the vaccine is been developed faster than most of the vaccine. And please, no crazy theories. Okay, no, please. If you want to do, you can read up on the vaccine, what the science is behind it, just to make sure that you feel comfortable. And again, I don't want any conspiracy theory about it. I want people to understand, and I understand why African Americans feel so leery about it, because they have good rights. We know about the what do you call it in Alabama, the Tuskegee experiment. Yeah. So Black folks in this country have a valid reason for feeling this way. I would never downplay that. But I can tell you that the science for this is there. It is there, and it's real, and we need to get as much help in this process as possible. And if you can't take a vaccine right now, please wear a mask, social distance, and wash your hands every time you go back home, because your hand touched so many things. And if you get back home and you start touching your eyes, your nose, and your mouth, you could get yourself infected. So that's why you want to make sure you wash your hands for at least 20 seconds when you get home.
Yes, yes. Wise words from our state representative, Miss Donna Mcleod. I have to say it loud and say it proud when it's Donna Mcleod. All right. So let me see what our social media friends are saying here, Miss Donna. Agreed. No conspiracy theories, says Hanson Lewin. All right. I don't want it, but eventually it will become compulsory, says Christine in the UK. Anson did say he thinks we should provide some background about the vaccine. You're absolutely right. Yeah. And do you know of any sources to read up on it, Donna?
So I'm going to get some more, and I will provide it for you. I know the Department of Health, we're supposed to have a Zoom call with them. Yeah. And again, the CDC is a good site as well. The CDC should provide all of that information. Under the Trump administration, things just got out of control. CDC has always been a reliable source for facts and information. And it's unfortunate that because the dude in the White House has been so derelict in his duty and incompetent, that he's really made people feel and see things differently. And that's unfortunate.
That's right. Let me continue going through some here. Greetings, Wayne. Awesome job, Donna. That's from Dr. Williams. Good evening, Dr. Williams.
Good
Good
evening,
to see
doctor.
you. All right. Natalie says, not me. I won't take it. I'm calling you out, Natalie. But I hear you, girl. I hear you. I hear you.
Like I said, they
And
have just reasons. I'm not disputing that.
yeah, yeah. Yep. It's getting bad in Gwinnett, the virus is, says Andrea Brown McNeish. All right. Great job, Donna, says Violet Wright. How
Thank you,
does the
Violet.
lines determine funding for schools? Oh, that's probably when you were mentioned the
District.
zoning, the district rezoning. Okay, that might take place. Is that something you can get into right now?
Yeah, okay. It doesn't
Yeah.
really affect the funding for schools, but what I will say is what affects the funding for schools is actually the QBE formula, which was a 1987 formula. And with Gwinnett in the county that we live and you teach in, the county has grown so rapidly in less than 20 years. We have quadrupled the size of the county and the school system. And so we actually, Gwinnett County is a burden on the other counties because we demand so much more. So the formula has had to be manipulated to basically accommodate Gwinnett County. I actually am proposing right now, I have a piece of legislation that I'm looking at revising the QBE formula to put in poverty, to also put in English as a second language, all of that inside this formula. So the formula can be adjusted to right size the county itself. The district lines don't really affect the funding of schools, but it might change the amount of people or how many school board districts you have, because it's based on
Okay.
population, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. Oh, man. All right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Louise Ladat, welcome. Okay. Good evening. Good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening.
Welcome, everyone, again. Donna, always a
Yes.
pleasure. Always a
Well,
pleasure.
let me just, I want to say something. I want to
Yeah.
thank the people of District 105 that decided to overwhelmingly vote me as their representative. I won by a landslide this time around because the people showed a vote of confidence in me, and I hope to continue to do that on behalf of the people that I serve, which Wayne happens to be one of my constituents. And
Yes.
so I'm grateful. I am so grateful for the great constituents that I have. And I want to work on their behalf. I've always, anytime I'm at the Capitol, my first priority is the people in District 105. I serve the entire state of Georgia, but District 105 is my specific district. And I want to serve them well and keep them in mind every time that I make a decision, because they're the only ones that can hire me and they're the only ones that can fire me.
I love it, ladies and gentlemen. Donna Mcleod, thank you. It's always such a pleasure, and I appreciate you making time to be on our platform tonight. It's just a great time to have this conversation, I think, and a great time to say we voted for you, we got your back, we're here. Please tell us how your constituents can contact you with matters of concern in our district.
So if they can go to electdonnamcleod.com, that's elect, DONNAMCLEOD, only one C, MCLEOD.com. There's a contact button. Fill out the information and it will come to me. So you can get me. If you want to contact me at the Capitol, you can call 404-656-0220. And our admin staff will make sure that they get any message to me. And you can definitely also email me at hd105dm@gmail.com. So there's a lot of ways to get me, but the quickest way is probably through my electdonnamcleod.com.
Awesome. All right. Thanks again, ladies and gentlemen. There she is, Miss Donna Mcleod. Great conversation. Thank you so much. I will need to have you frequently to just give us updates and share.
I would love to do that, because I think one of the things that is important is knowledge, right?
Yes.
It's the most important thing you give to yourself. Of course, the vote we give to each other, but knowledge and just knowing fundamentally that it's your government, it's your money. How we spend your money on your behalf is what matters. So are you getting a return on your investment? Nobody goes on the stock market not to make a profit. Nobody. but we pay taxes, and basically that money's taken out of our paychecks, or when we buy stuff, sales tax, and that money's is your money, and you should demand that people use your money wisely. And that's the most important part for anybody that lives in our state, is to make sure that the money that is being collected from you is used on your behalf, and not for somebody else or some other dubious ways, in any other dubious ways.
There you go. There you go. Well, thank you. We'll make it happen, Donna. I appreciate your time. Have a great rest of the evening.
Yes, and Happy New Year to everyone. And please, please stay safe. Please wear a mask, wash your hands, and keep your distance. Thank you guys so much. It's good
Take your fingers